She stood behind the counter, trying her best to smile through tears. The lunch rush was over, and the diner had fallen quiet, except for the sound of the doorbell as a group of bikers walked in. Everyone stared, expecting trouble. But what happened next, no one in that small-town diner would ever forget. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe for more emotional true stories that restore faith in humanity. And watch till the end, because this one will touch your heart. It was a chilly afternoon in a small town off Highway 47. The sky was pale blue, and the smell of coffee drifted from a little roadside diner called Maggie's Place. It wasn't fancy, just a handful of booths, old jukebox in the corner, and a waitress who seemed too tired for her years. Her name was Lena. Lena was 29, a single mother with 2 kids waiting for her back home. Life hadn't been kind lately. Her rent was overdue, her car had broken down again, and her ex-husband had missed another child support payment. Still, she came to work every day, pushing through 12-hour shifts, hoping for enough tips to cover groceries and gas. That day started like any other. The morning rush was tough, a mix of regulars and travelers. But now the place was quiet. She took a deep breath, trying to enjoy the calm, when the front door swung open and a loud rumble of motorcycle engines echoed outside. A group of 6 bikers stepped in, tall leather vests, boots dusty from the road. Their jackets carried the name Iron Brothers, stitched across the back in bold red letters. The chatter in the diner died down instantly. 2 old men at the counter lowered their cups. Even the cook peeked through the kitchen window. Lena swallowed hard. She'd served bikers before, but this crew looked rougher than most. She tried to smile anyway. "Afternoon, folks. Sit wherever you like." They took a booth by the window, their heavy boots thudding against the tile floor. She grabbed her notepad and walked over. One of them, a tall man with gray streaks in his beard, smiled kindly and said, "Mom, we'll take 6 coffees to start." "Been a long ride." His voice was calm, respectful. Lena nodded, surprised. "Sure thing." She turned, poured their drinks, and tried not to think about the whispers from the other customers. As she brought the mugs to the table, she noticed one biker, a younger guy with tattoos down his arms, looking around the diner with quiet curiosity. "You got any of that homemade pie I keep hearing about?" he asked. She smiled a little. "Apple and pecan fresh this morning." "Then bring us both. And whatever's your favorite." "Add that too," said the older one. Lena blinked surprised. "My favorite," he chuckled. "Yeah, you look like someone who knows the best thing on the menu." She felt her face warm a little. "Well, the meatloaf special's good. Comes with mashed potatoes." "Perfect. Bring 6. As she walked back to the kitchen, she caught herself smiling for the first time that day. Maybe they weren't what people thought. The cook, an older man named Hank, raised an eyebrow. "They given you trouble?" "No," Lena said softly. "They're actually polite." Within minutes, she was carrying out plates, steaming meatloaf, buttery mashed potatoes, and slices of pie that filled the air with cinnamon. The bikers dug in gratefully. Between bites, they joked quietly with each other, never once raising their voices or being rude. But as the minutes passed, Lena's exhaustion caught up to her. She reached for a pot of coffee and winced. Her wrist still hurt from dropping a tray earlier that morning. The burn from the hot plate hadn't healed yet. She hid it quickly behind her apron, not wanting anyone to notice. When she came by to refill the bikers' mugs, the older one, who she later learned was named Ray, noticed the bandage. "You okay there, Mom?" he asked. "Yeah," she said, forcing a smile. "Just clumsy today." He studied her for a moment. "You've been on your feet a while, haven't you?" Lena tried to brush it off. "It's just been a long week." She didn't know that Ray could read people well. After all, he'd been a trucker before he rode bikes full-time. He'd seen every kind of struggle there was. And the way Lena spoke reminded him of his late wife, who used to wait tables before she passed. When they finished eating, the men talked quietly among themselves while Lena cleared their plates. Ray reached for the check and tucked something inside before sliding it back onto the table. Lena took it to the register without thinking, thanked them for stopping by, and watched as they left. The sound of engines fading down the highway. When she finally opened the check, she froze. The total was $67, but tucked inside the receipt was 5 crisp 100 bills and a note that read, "Tor, for the woman who keeps this place running with grace and grit. Take care of yourself and your little ones." The Iron Brothers. Her eyes blurred. She looked up just as one of the bikers, the young tattooed one, peeked through the window, smiled, and gave a small salute before walking away. Lena covered her mouth, tears spilling over. The other customers had seen it too, and the diner fell completely silent. The two old men at the counter looked at each other, speechless. But that wasn't all. A week later, the bikers came back, this time with boxes. Inside were supplies, canned food, a brand new coffee machine, and a card that said, "For Maggie's place. You've served us more than a meal." Lena couldn't believe it. Word spread through town fast. The local paper wrote an article titled, "Bikers Bring Kindness to Small Town Diner." Customers started coming from neighboring towns just to eat at the place, where the bikers made a waitress cry, in the best way. Months passed, and life slowly began to change for Lena. Her car got fixed, her rent was caught up, and one morning she came to work to find a letter taped to the door. It was from Ray. He wrote, "You reminded us that kindness doesn't wear leather or lace. It lives in everyday people. Keep smiling, Lena. You never know who's watching and needs hope." She framed that letter and hung it by the register. Years later, when Lena finally opened her own little diner, she named it Iron Hearts Cafe, in honor of the men who saw her not as a waitress, but as a person worth helping. And every year, on the first Sunday of spring, a group of bikes would roll into town, the same patch on their jackets. Iron Brothers. They'd sit at the same booth by the window, order 6 coffees, and ask for Lena's favorite dish. She'd serve them with a smile, but her eyes would always shine with tears. Because some people come into your life for a reason, and their kindness becomes the chapter you never forget. If this story touched your heart, remember, sometimes the toughest-looking people carry the kindest hearts. Let's keep that spirit alive. Tell me in the comments, from which part of the country are you watching this video? And don't forget to subscribe for more real stories that prove kindness still exists.